Hi everyone, welcome back to the nest. So this is part 2 of my, what was it I was going to call this? A journal embellishment book or box. I guess it's a book because it isn't completely enclosed, so we'll call it a journal embellishment book. I think I messed up on the first part, but anyway, we're back. We have our covers on the inside and outside, as well as our magnets. So we need to go ahead and put our papers on. So you're going to need, for your decorative paper for the front and back, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 7 3/4 inch by 9 1/4 inch. And so let's just get to it. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I messed up. Hang on. I didn't ink my edges. So I'm using hickory smoke. Dagnabbit. Okay. Now. So if you're making this along with me, you'll probably have to stop and, you know, pause the video at any time, because just to try to speed things up, I went ahead and cut all of my pieces out just to help with the process. I kind of wish that I had double matted that one. It's too late now. I think I did on my original one. I'll do it on the rest of them. But that's still so pretty. I'm just making sure that I'm burnishing it really, really well so it will adhere good and go to all of my edges. So there we go. There's that. Then I'm going to flip it over and do the one for the back. So, and yes, I do have my pajamas on. It's starting to turn cold here, and we're supposed to, they're saying we're going to get snow on Friday, so I had a busy day yesterday. My plan had been to finish up this tutorial for you yesterday morning, and then I wanted to wash my windows on the outside because it was in the 60s, and I was afraid that I wasn't going to get a chance to get my windows washed before it turned cold. And if I have dirty windows and I have to look at them all winter long, it just drives me nuts. So I went and got my hair done and came home and washed my windows and knocked down some spider webs and all that good jazz. Just trying to get things ready for cold weather. I love this paper. This is one of the paper pads that I bought from, ouch, that I bought in that marathon haul that I did with Lydia. I just couldn't make up my mind which ones, those paper pads that I like the most. So I just bought them all. Well, not all. No, not all. But, oh, for your spine, you need a piece that's 2 1/4 by 9 1/4. I about forgot that. So we're going to go ahead and put it on. I am so excited about these little books, and I hope that the ladies that I'm sending these to like them. I wish that I had some sort of magical power to where I could, or elfing power, so that I could make something for all of my subscribers. That would be awesome, but I know that it's impossible and I can't do it. But I do have something coming up that for a chance for you all to win. So, okay, so now we're going to do, let's go ahead and cover our insides. And we're going to need 2 pieces that is 7 5/8 by 9. And go ahead and, whoops, I'm leaving my fabric tack leaned over like that, so hopefully I can ink this before it drips. It's a race. I have a love-hate relationship with that fabric tack. It's great glue. The fabric tack and the Beacon 3-in-1. But sometimes it doesn't want to come out for me, and then sometimes it just has a mind of its own and comes out, even if it's standing straight up. But it's good glue. I can remember using this glue back in the 80s. I would make, I used to make Victorian Christmas ornaments, and with that there was a lot of trims and, you know, things like that. And I used this fabric tack a lot then. However, I had no idea. I didn't think about using it for paper crafts. But I really wasn't doing a lot of paper crafts in the 80s. I used to make all of my Christmas ornaments for my tree every year. And sorry, this is a new foam thing. That's why I'm trying to get it. See, it's new. I was trying to make sure that I was getting enough ink on there. But each year I used to come up with a new theme for my Christmas tree, you know, and it could be, as far as the theme goes, it would be maybe, I can remember one year I wanted a nothing but blue and white Christmas tree. So of course they didn't have lights that were blue and white together, so I painstakingly sat down. I bought all blue lights, and then I bought all white lights, and I went through and painstakingly alternated my lights. And then myself and a friend sat down and we just thought of all kinds of different blue and white ornaments, and we had like a little ornament making party, if you want to call it that, and we had so much fun. But we used to do that each year, and she would come help me make ornaments, and then I would go help her make ornaments, and it was a lot of fun, you know. I love everything about Christmas. I have since I was a little girl. Just love it. My mom used to, when I was little, my granny and grandfather, my papa, would come over on Christmas Eve, and because on Christmas Day, my granny knew that we would all be busy, so she wanted to watch us kids open up our Christmas gifts. So it was a tradition that we just opened our gifts on Christmas Eve, because that's when my granny wanted to come over. She was so considerate about Christmas Day, you know, and stuff, and how crazy it is. And so to this day, we open our gifts on Christmas Eve. My son doesn't know any, I mean, you know, he's never had to wait other than for his Santa Claus gifts for Christmas morning. And ever since I've left home, then I've been the one to host Christmas Eve, and I love it. I love the closeness and the celebrating. The reason for Christmas. I love it. So, okay, so for your spine then, it needs to be 2 1/4 by 9. Isn't this the prettiest paper? I love it so much. Come on. There's that love-hate with this glue. I can remember on Christmas Eve, my mom, before we'd open our gifts, my grandmother would ask my mom to read the story of Joseph and Mary from the Bible. And that was always fun. Not fun, but I mean, we really enjoyed it. You know what I mean. It's just one of those really good Christmas memories, and just to help you remember the true meaning and true reason of Christmas. And all the goodness that goes with it. I don't know. I'm sure that you all know what Elf on the Shelf is, but when I was a little girl, we didn't call it that. They were just Mom's elves, and we weren't allowed to touch them. And a lot of them came from, they were on top of like, in the grocery store, on top of a dish detergent. It was weird. Okay, let me see. Okay, so we're going to do the pocket. Hang on, let me get this. We're going to do this pocket right here for the journal to slide into. And I'm going to show you something. See the thickness of this journal. is a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch. I'd say that that's probably 1/8 of an inch or something, but I did my gusset on my pocket 1/4 of an inch so it would slide a little bit easier but not fall out. However, if you find a journal, and it doesn't have these thick chipboard, the covers, then you can make your gusset smaller. You'll need to adjust for that. And this little journal, I guess I should have told you all how big it is. I'm going to measure with the spirals. It measures 7 by 7 by 9. And I think that's if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a fairly common size, which is why I thought that I would do the tutorial for you with this. But I see these little journals, in all over. So I'm going to put this back over here. Okay, so we're going to do this pocket, and so you're going to need a solid piece of cardstock, and this really needs to be 110-pound cardstock just for the stability and all. And it needs to measure 10.5 by 3 3/4. And then we're going to, once you get that cut out, remember, go ahead and pause whenever you need to if you're following along. So we're going to put it in our scoreboard on the 10.5-inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and that's what's going to allow the 1/4 of an inch gusset. So right there is where, if your chipboard is thinner than that, your covers are thinner than that, then you may want to do just 1/8 of an inch, which would be you would do the 1/2 of an inch, and then you would do the 5/8 on your thing. But for this, I don't want to confuse you, I just wanted to explain that. But on this one, you do 1/2 of an inch, and then 3/4 of an inch, and then come over to 9 3/4 and 10. And then you're going to rotate your cardstock, and you're going to score at 1/2 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch again. And you're done. So, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to burnish all of our score lines really good. I have glue all over my fingers, you all. I'm sorry. I guess as crafters, you know how that goes. You can't keep your fingers all clean all the time. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not. But what I'm going to... Oh, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do a... I have to think about it. I think that's how it goes. Isn't that funny? I craft, I guess you would call it, by the seat of my pants. And, okay, so hopefully you can see this and where I score, or where I'm going to cut. I'm just going to pause it there for a second to where you can study it, and then pause yourself. So that is where I'm going to cut, and hopefully this is the right place. So, well, what's going to happen is I'm going to color it to where you can see. Yeah, I did this. This is how I did this before. So then after I did that, do you see the little area that I colored in? You're going to need to cut that little square out as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. So you see. And then I'll cut. And then cut. There we go. Then we'll cut that out. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to put, I'm going to go ahead and put my pattern paper, my decorative paper on the front. And that piece of paper measures 8 3/4 by 2 3/4. Don't forget to ink your edges, especially if you're using black cardstock as your base. It just looks better when you put it on your solid black cardstock. It looks more finished, I guess you could say. Oh, Lord. Come on. Okay, there we go. Oops. Okay, so now on the half an inch, you can't see that. I'm going to do this. On your half of an inch flaps, I know a lot of you who've made books and stuff before, you know this, but so everywhere that you see the little squiggly lines on the half of an inch, that is where we're going to put score tape. Okay? And I'm going to use 3/8 inch. You can use 1/2 inch if that's all you have. That's no big deal. But I'm going to use score tape along with glue, wet glue. End of the roll on that one. Well, that just worked out perfect. That's rare for something to happen like that while I'm filming. Huh. Yay me. Okay, so we have that on there, and we're going to burnish it really, really good. Now you can use the red line tape as well. I forget what other names they call that, but you can use that as well. And I'm going to show you what I do right here. I'm going to have to get this out though. Go ahead and pull your score tape off. And as you can see, they don't overlap right here much anyway. But I didn't want all that bulk. So, but I still want it to hold there really sturdy and steady while I'm putting everything together and getting it in the book. So what I do is I go ahead and square it up and then put another piece of score tape there. That way my corner, you can see my corner, how square it is, and it doesn't create a bunch of bulk in the corners, and will help you tremendously. That's why I like doing the angles, like I showed you. I think there's other ways that you can do this. I know I've seen others do it, and I've even done it, but this is how I was doing these. So we go ahead and do that and try to get it burnished, and then pull it off, and then we're going to put some wet glue on, and I think that I'm going to use this Scotch Quick Dry. You can use your art glitter glue as well. But what that does, this is really strong adhesive. However, your quick dry or your art glitter glue will give you a little bit more of wiggle time in case you don't get your placement correct. And you all know the world's worst for that. Plus, it's a longevity thing to help your projects last longer. Okay, so then we're just going to line it up over here and right on top of our decorative paper. Oh, probably my head isn't in the frame. Oh, that's good. Oh, it did so good. And then gently take your bone folder and just run it inside on your flaps to where they will adhere nicely. And you know, if you didn't want to do this and put a journal in here, you could always utilize this little pocket on the side for larger things, you know, larger embellishments. You could do, make some little handmade embellishments and put pretty toppers on it and tuck it in there. And you could even do your pocket on this side with a deeper gusset. So there's another idea for you. So now we're going to work on this side, and we're going to do the deep pocket here at the bottom first. And so what you will need is you will need one piece that is 10 5/8 by 5 1/2 of solid cardstock, 110 pound weight, and then one piece that is 7 1/2 by 4, and then well, I'll tell you that in a minute, but go ahead and pause and cut that. Okay, so once you have that cut, then you will need to put it in your scoreboard on the 10 1/2 inch side, and you'll need to score at 1/2 inch, 1 1/2 inches, 9 1/8 inch, and 10 1/8 inch. And then you're going to flip it around. And now you're on the 5.5 inch side. And so you'll score at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. And then the same thing. We're just going to fold and burnish all of our fold and burnish all of our score lines. Okay, so there we go. And then the same thing here. No, this one's a little bit different. No, it isn't. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, it's the same thing. Same thing. I'll show you. Yep. It's just larger scale. But that is how we're going to cut it. And then the area that I colored in with the pencil, you'll cut that away as well. And so it's just the exact same thing as we did for the journal pocket. Except a larger scale. And you know, if you wanted to, you would have to cut this down, I think, a little bit, because that isn't the same size, but you could make this size pocket on this side if you preferred. You're only limited by your own imagination, so. The possibilities are endless. Here you go. I'll show you again what I did. There we go. Now, again, the same place where we're going to put our score tape are on these the first 1/2 inch flap, just like before. Hopefully you can see that all the way around. So let's get started here. There is like fuzz in this tape. It's weird. Okay. There we go. Oops. Okay. I'm about to cut that one too. Yeah, I shouldn't have cut that little, I don't know what I did there, but it's still going to work. It's no big deal. Oops. Okay. So we're just going to square it up, and I don't know what I did there. I got scissor happy or something. I cut that corner wrong. But we're putting a backing on it, so that's going to help hold it together. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and peel this off, just like before. And then I've already told you what your backing is, so we need to go ahead and put some glue on that. And it's shy just a little bit of the size of this. Yeah, so we're going to put, here I'll do it like this. Let's put it on our score tape, and then that way we'll get it right, maybe. Okay. So we're going to just place this on here. You have to be patient with it. Boy, when you're doing a tutorial, patience isn't something that you really have time for, is it? I'm just still working with it, trying to get it all lined up. I may have wrote the wrong measurement down. Because it isn't wanting to. Hang on a minute, guys. We'll double check something. If you've already cut your 7.5 by 4, it's no big deal. We may just have to size it down just a tad. No, that's right, 7.5. Yeah, let's do it. Let's cut off, oh boy, how am I going to do that with that glue on there? Let's cut off like an 1/8 of an inch. Because I just didn't like how that, yeah, let's just cut off 1/8 of an inch. I didn't like that at all. Here's an oops. Blade. I think it's time to put a new blade in. So it's getting fuzzies. Okay, so rather than it being 4 inches high, it will be 3 7/8. So, where's my pencil? Do y'all see it? There it is. So it'll be 3 7/8 inch. on that piece. So I'll have to remember to write that down in my book too. Because like I said, I'm making 5 of these, and yeah, making 5 of them, so that was why I started writing it down. Then I thought, oh, no, maybe, maybe you all would enjoy a tutorial of this. So, I have an oops there in the corner. Dagnabbit. Or I cut wrong. I cut my angle wrong is what I'm saying. That's okay. Nothing that I'm planning on putting in the box will can fall out that tiny little slit anyway, so quick. Ah, sorry, didn't mean to bump you off. My bone folder was hiding. So we're just going to burnish this down really good. And then we're going to go ahead, I should have added my decorative paper before I did that, but get that going. So your piece of decorative paper for the front needs to be 7 1/4 by 3 3/4. Let's go ahead and cut that, and then ink your edges. Sorry for the little mix-up on that pocket. If I knew how to edit and all that jazz, or had time to even learn, I would completely edit that out and redo it, but this is real time, and this is what it's truly like when you're crafting. You have little boo-boos. So let's get this. So if you're a new crafter, brand new crafter, and you think that you're the only one who makes boo-boos, Ones who's been crafting for many years does it as well. But sometimes making those mistakes is a good thing, and it's a positive thing because you learn from it. Just like me learning about the different glues and all. You learn from your mistakes. It's just like anything else in life. I'm not sure that any of us has gotten this far in life and never made a mistake. If you have, then please tell me about it. But yeah, we all do boo-boos. We just learn from them. Okay, so there's our pocket, and then you just simply, I'm going to use the 1/2" tape. On the back, I'm going to use score tape as well as wet glue, just to kind of back up the score tape. And that isn't glued down right there. That is sure enough going to lift, so we need to fix that. So do you all want a hint about some of the where I was talking in some of my hauls about what's coming up? Here's a hint for you. My ho-ho lantern that that everybody's loved since I hauled it from Tuesday morning. Well, I may or may not have found another one, and I may or may not be giving one away. Yeah. Stay tuned. That's coming up. I need to get that. I need to get that announcement up and out soon because, well, I just need to. I hit. Oh, come on now, really? I hate when I do something like that. It drives me nuts. Trying to hurry. Thinking about the time. Not paying attention. Well, you know what will happen there, don't you? I'll be putting... Because, see, I don't like how that turned... What happened? Can you see that? So I'll just put paper on it. Oh, voila! Okay. Okay, so we burnished all that. So I'm over 2,000 subbies now. I had planned on doing like a Christmas giveaway anyway, because I've been saving, buying, and putting stuff back for a while. I've mentioned that before. But I also went over 2,000 subbies, so I'm trying to figure out, that's what's holding me up, is I'm trying to figure out what to do in celebration of that, along with the Christmas gift. I don't know. I think I'm just going to put on. I'm just going to combine the two somehow. Tell when I get in a hurry. Okay, so then we're just going to line it up down here at the bottom, down on the bottom here, and it should fit. It should fit pretty good. There may be just a tad bit of a border, and if there is, that's even better, because that gives you a little bit more detail. Okay, so I have it on there. And the reason that I put the backing on there and turned it into like a little box is for stability, just to help it, whoops, just to let it, to where it's more stable. I'm sure you all knew that, but just so you know. Just get it burnished really, really good. And then the last thing that we need to do then is we need to make our pocket for that's above this one. And it is actually a little accordion pocket. So what you'll need is you'll need 2 pieces of 110-pound solid cardstock. And you'll need to cut it to 9.5 by 3.5. And then, I'm sorry for all the glue on my hands. And then for your backing, it needs to be 7.5 by 3. And hopefully hopefully I did that correctly. I sort of did some of these measurements after I had already made the album, because I just go, you know, I just craft. I don't really write things down much. So on your scoreboard then, on the 9.5 inch side, you need to score at 1 inch. Or, excuse me, yeah, 1 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1 inch. Sorry, I thought I heard rain. And then you need to score at 8.5 inches and at 9 inches. And then you're going to flip it around to where it's on the 3.5 inch side. And you're just going to make one score at 1 inch, or 1/2 inch, sorry, 1/2 inch. So again, that is on the 9.5 inch side, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and then 8.5 inches and 9 inches. And then you flip it around and you score on the 3.5 inch side at just 1/2 inch. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut out, you know what, I missed one. Sorry, we're going to get our scoreboard back out. That is an accordion, blooper too, if anyone's counting. So we do 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, sorry guys, and then 1 inch. This is on the 9.5 inch side, and then we're going to do 8.5 inches, 8 3/4 inch, and 9. And then I'm shading in where you cut. Down at the bottom, the areas that I've shaded in is where you cut. But give me a minute, don't do it yet. Yeah, don't cut yet. I thought that I was prepared to do a tutorial. So when I'm making mini albums and things like this and stuff, I don't write down like measurements and everything initially. I just start making, and you know, I'll measure and I'll say, okay, well that fits or that fits. So, but I knew that I was going to, you know, reproduce this little journal 5 times, so I thought that it would be handy if I would measure, and hadn't really planned on doing a tutorial until I had it written down. Okay, so I just went through and scored all of my, or creased all of my score lines. But over here on the score line, that's 3/4 inch, that's the one right there in the middle, you're going to need to fold it back. So it goes the opposite way of everything else. And then back in to where you have something like that, where there's a valley there. Because see, this is going to come around and it goes on your page and look like that. Can you see that? Yeah. So it's going to look like that. And yeah, let me do this. I hope you haven't cut anything yet. Daggone it, Robin. Let's see what needs to go. Let me get an eraser. Okay. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut these two right here. That way I'll have a little flap right there. I think that will work. Give me just a second and let me try it myself before you go cutting anything. On my plans I had all of that cut out, and I think that's what it was. That's exactly what I did before. So I was right the first time. I hate when I overthink stuff. So you just cut it all out, all of those little bottom ones, like I showed you originally. And that's how I had it in my little drawing over here. So anyway, oops. Okay. And then let's go ahead and put our decorative paper on here. It needs to be 7 1/4 by 2 3/4. Go ahead and we'll ink our edges. And guys, we're just about done with this. These, I know that I had to do this in 2 parts and they're long, but I'm doing it in real time with you, other than just pre-cutting my pages. But once you get going, and if you're not trying to do a tutorial doing it, they really do come together relatively quick. And then the fun part is what you're going to put on the inside. You know, what kind of goodies do you want to fill it with? And I love the fact that it has a what is it, a 1-inch pocket, to where you can put thicker, you know, items in it, or you can just put more. So I really like it. And then this little accordion pocket I thought was just cute. Now let me see. This needs to come down just a little bit. What do I want for Christmas? Better lighting in my craft room. The craft room doesn't have overhead lights, so you know, like one in the center. If you saw my craft room tour, I have the two little lights that hang down on either side of my TV that are original to this house. And that's it. That's all I have as far as fixed items. Okay, something else that I'm going to tell you to do, because I just now realized that it needs to happen. We'll do it on both sides, but I'm going to draw it because it's hard to see on black paper. So do you see how I've done just like a little, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you need to cut that to take out some of the bulk. But just slant it just a tad. It doesn't even have to be that much, but just a little bit. Just a little sliver. See? It's just a little sliver. Like that. Okay. And then we're going to fold these in like so. And then fold this up like that, your bottom. And then you're going to put score tape, and see I had a little piece hanging over there. You're going to put score tape on that bend to keep it held until you can get the rest on. Like that. So let's do the other side then. And what I'm doing here, if I have any kind of little tip or something that was in my corner when I fold those up, I like to, see like that right there. Can you see it? There, I think you can see it. I just like to cut it off. Just to make it cleaner. There we go. Piece of glue down there. Okay. So then we're going to do this. Put our tape on here. The possibilities are endless that you could do with this little book, you know, and it would just be nice. You could even put, like, let's say that you're traveling and you would like to have, maybe you want to make some cards while you're traveling or something. You could put everything that you would need, other than, I don't know that you could get your glue in there, but you could get the majority of it inside this little book, and then it's all right there handy. And regardless of your limited space, wherever you are, you could still craft. You can make cards, or maybe you like doing traveler's journals. I know when we go to the beach, I always take, I make a little book, and it would be so nice if everything was real handy and I didn't have 2 or 3 different zipper bags and stuff. So I think I may make me one of these. Oh, hang on a minute, I need to cough. Give me something to drink. Okay, so we're going to put our backing on, and I think I've already given you this measurement, but I'll give it again. 7.5 by 3. Before I go to put it on here, I am going to dry fit it and see if that's what it needs to be. And yes, that's correct. So let's just go ahead and take this off, and then we're going to go ahead and put some wet glue on here as well, just like we did before. You know, I know a lot of you love the art glitter glue. I'm still a huge fan of the Scotch Quick Dry. It's good. It's good stuff. It's very similar. So we just put our backing on there, like so. Hopefully I was in frame for that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Even if you are a new crafter, I think you can do that. And then see, this is, of course the glue's still wet, but see how you have the little accordion pocket there? Yeah. So Now we're going to go ahead and put our score tape on the back of this. Trying to think of some other uses for this, but if you made it for like traveling to do journaling and stuff, you could certainly get pretty much everything in this, and you would never really have to take your journal out. I don't think. I probably journal differently than a lot of people do. Sometime I'll show you my beach journal. I used it for 2 years and it's full now, so I get to make a new one for next year. So this one is not as wide as your decorative piece of paper, so you just want to center it and then give yourself some depth here so you can put stuff down in. I did not measure this. I just sort of eyeballed it. So whatever's pleasing to you, and kind of think about what it is that you're going to put in this book, is, then you adjust this little pocket as best you can. And things that you put down in here, the accordion pocket is not going to get in its way because it will lay flat. And that's why I did the accordion pocket at the top, to allow for more things to go in here, but not have a gusset like, that would get in its way and crush it. So your accordion pocket are for flatter embellishments. And then you can get chunkier stuff here. I just like to, all of my new subbies, I would just like to welcome you all. Y'all, it just thrills me that you all enjoy the content on my channel, and I appreciate you being here so much. Okay, so I think that's good. Let's make sure that I'm nice and straight. And I am. Yay! Let's just get it pressed down good. Where's my? There it is. Clean up your ink. Your glue spillage. Don't worry about the glue spillage. It's good if it oozes out like that. That way you know that it has gone to the edge really well. And so there we go. There it is. You're done. Yay! So, so on your closure here, we need to cut a couple of pieces of paper. So, about forgot about that. Sorry, you guys. I thought it was done. And I hadn't cut those ahead of time. So, I'm going to have to find some well, fiddlesticks. Hang on just 1 second. Get caught up if you're watching. You can get caught up on some things. If you're watching and playing alone, I have to get a piece of some cardstock that will work. And I have to come all the way on the opposite side of my craft room to do so. So let's see. Let's see. It's a little bit lighter. It may work, but let me see if I have one just a tad bit darker. That one would work, but I'm running low on red cardstock as well. That's a nice burgundy. So, sorry guys. I normally try to stay better prepared than this. And I had forgotten that I didn't cut my pieces for I think, what do y'all think? That one or that one? You know what, that's like brightens everything up. And this one, I don't know which one. Oh, see, this is what slows me down. I don't know if it does you all, but it just completely slows me down. I don't know why I'm leaning towards this one more, but I have to make a decision, right? But this one's closer to what that is, so I'm going with that. Okay, so these pieces need to be cut at, let's get our, whoops. I haven't even written those down. Oh. They need to be cut at 2 1/4. You're going to need 2 at 2 1/4 by 2 3/4, right? Yeah, 2 1/4. Yep. So this one's going to be, you're going to need 2 at 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. And then on this one, you're going to need 2 at 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. Really? Yeah. 2 1/2. That one's 2 1/2. Yeah, 2 1/2 by 2 3/4. I can't see. Okay. So to cover these, I'm not going to do this, but what you'll do, I'm not going to do it on film anyway. What you'll do is you'll need 2 that are 2 1/4 by 2 3/4, and that will cover the front as well as the back side here. And then you'll need 2 that are 2 1/2 by 2 3/4, and that will cover this side and this side. And you need to make sure that you do that because even though this is a 110-pound chipboard, it just gives it more oomph. And then what I did on this one, I even went back over, I did a matting, a double matting, and I went back over and did, so there's 2 pieces here. It just gives it more, and I didn't do it on the inside, but it gives it more stability. So that is it, you all. I hope that that you enjoyed the tutorial. I apologize for some of the bloopers and all, but this is real-time crafting, and this is how it works for me. I'm not a perfect crafter, so but I love it, and I love sharing what I do with you all. So I'm off to make some more of these journals to where I can get them boxed up and shipped out. So I will talk to you all later. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.